how's it going? Welcome into Sports Night. How'd you like that? No, maybe not the fireworks that we're used to. No, there wasn't a dramatic comeback like last year or like what we saw earlier this season in the fourth quarter against Sugar Salem. No, it was a low-scoring game, and it was a lot of defense, and well, so much defense. Well, let's take a look at the numbers. These are the battle stats. Close enough to official. Let's go ahead and overlay what Cody was doing throughout the season up to this game. The total yards difference here, 387 for Star Valley to 142 total yards for Cody. And that was on 7 rushing yards in the game. And as you see, Cody converting on just 20% of their third downs. Let's just look at the rushing yards as we compare 438 yards put up against Riverton, 355 against Douglas, 292 over Buffalo, 357 versus Powell, and 283 against Evanston. 7? Like, that many. 7! That being said, Star Valley's defense did take a blow in that game right here when their defensive lineman, Elia Mautautia, goes down with what appears to be an elbow injury. He wouldn't return for the remainder of the game, and I'm being told by his coaches that he's doubtful for tomorrow night. Now, I'm hopeful that doubtful for tomorrow means probable for later on in the season, especially in the playoffs, because while I'm pretty sure that Star Valley has the deepest defensive line bench in the state, and well, a lot of teams would probably take some linemen from Star Valley who aren't seeing a whole lot of snaps this year.
You got Kai Frazier and Bryce Erickson especially. A couple guys that have had a ton of success at the JV level this year. A couple guys that start for just about any other team in the state. So they're hungry and they're ready to step in. We have an incredible defense. Like, that's just the way it is. You know, to be able to lean on them the way we were Friday night is awesome. I mean, particularly as the offensive play caller.
So despite the win, that's something Star Valley has to navigate this week and for presumably a few weeks to go, as they hope to get their senior linemen back before too long. But as for this week, one left in the regular season after this game, it's the last home game of the season for Star Valley. So let's take a look at the standings in the 3A West. Star Valley finishes the season with Evanston this week and then on the road at Green River next week. And they control the number 1 seed with the 3-0 record and all-important win over Cody last week. And they can clinch it this week with a win. Cody, Jackson, and Green River all seem to be into the playoffs, and Evanston and Powell are eliminated. Although maybe Powell is still in, but would be officially eliminated with a loss at Jackson this week. Either way, the path for Star Valley's clear. Win these next 2 weeks and have home field with what they hope will culminate with another date in Laramie.
Again, I had a coach just tell me this last offseason that, like, McKay, you got no idea how scary and intimidating your place is in the playoffs. And, you know, and that's a tribute to a lot of people, you know, from the admin to the student body to the cheerleaders to the fans to God who made these mountains. Like, it's a special place, and I think particularly for a semifinal game, it's a big deal to be able to host it here.
So what about Star Valley's opponent this week in Evanston? Well, let's take a look. Evanston comes into the season 1-5. Their win, since being shut out by a Colorado Springs team, Evanston's offense has shown the ability to get into the end zone at least twice against every opponent in the 3A conference.
Go over the last 3 years as we've won the state championship in each of those years and look at the scores. Evanston's played us as close as about anybody in all 3 of those. I think 21-0 3 years ago, 29-8 2 years ago, 40-14 or whatever it was last year. I mean, you watch those tapes, I mean, they played us as close as most teams were able to in all those 3 years. So we're prepared for an Evanston team that plays really hard and historically has frustrated us.
Their quarterback, Kason Brady, coming into last week, had 29 completions on 86 attempts with 8 interceptions to 3 touchdowns. The 34% completion percentage is at the bottom of 3A, but football stats are tricky like that. It can't all be attributed to the quarterback. Evanston's had some injury issues on the offensive line, and they were already a young line coming into the year. His 260 rushing yards come from a mix of designed runs and scrambles to try to avoid a sack, and his favorite receiver by far this year is number 3 for Evanston, Timber Fitch. Fitch actually caught his second touchdown pass of the season last week against Jackson on this this play, where he grabs an incompletion that was deflected, and this kind of describes some of what Evanston's been experiencing this year. Opportunistic, if not often, also chaotic. You'll see as many as 4 other running backs taking carries in the backfield for Evanston tomorrow night. Braden Wallace leads the crew. He was the leading rusher for Evanston last season. The fullback, Braxton Hanks, will get a fair share of dives and trap plays run his way. And Bridger Roberts, number 21, is a nice change of pace back who makes good backfield cuts for Evanston. I mentioned the inexperience of the offensive line, and one thing I noticed is how that inexperience has affected the routes run for Evanston's offense, specifically with guys in the backfield. Take this for what it's worth, but with their running backs always needing to be pass blockers, it does take away a skill player as a safety valve option. And as we see in this play by Jackson last week against Evanston, sometimes when everything breaks down, having a running back to dump it off to can sometimes be a lifesaver. There are times when Evanston flashes big play potential, like on this RPO play completed deep to Timber Fitch. Like I said, there's a ton of youth on this team, so they will have a lot of these same people back next year as a year older and having taken their lumps in the conference for a year. Kickoff tomorrow at Star Valley High School is at 6 o'clock, 5:25 pregame on SVInews.com. And also on Friday, as we take a look at our schedule, varsity regional cross country meet for the girls and boys happening at Casper. The Star Valley Runners will be at Paradise Golf Course taking on Evanston, Riverton, Green River, Jackson, Kelly Walsh, Natrona County, and Rock Springs. The girls' race tomorrow will begin at 1 o'clock and the boys will be at 1:45. Good luck to them, and we'll learn more about that next week when they go to state. But for now, I'll see you next time. Hey, catch me on the highlights tomorrow.